Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Chris Jones, LifeWriting.com conversation. Look, this episode right here, it's hard for me to put it into words. I got with me Micah McDonald from the Big Mike Drop. Me and this brother go back a long way. We go back to our Air Force days. In fact, he was my first Air Force roommate. In fact, he was my only Air Force roommate. Now that I think about it,
Hoorah!
hoorah! That's my. Met him in briefly in basic training. He said, "I see you in tech school in Wichita Falls, Texas."
Yep.
And we were able to hang out and just catch up on some things there, what have you. And then again, as I mentioned, he was my roommate. So from tech school, we ended up going to Robbins Air Force Base together.
Same base. Yep.
Same base.
Yep.
So Big Mike of the Big Mike Drop, welcome to the platform, brother.
Man, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm great. I'm great, hey, Mike.
Like you said, man, it's always good to talk to you. One of my oldest friends that I can really call a friend, and I love what you're doing. So, I definitely wanted to stop by and chat it up with you.
I wanted you on to talk about this universal human rights in a sense, right? It's Universal Human Rights Month, if you will, Awareness Month, bringing awareness to a multitude of things from a human rights perspective. Right. And again, with your history type of background, doing your show and having people on talking about the various things that you talk about, I just thought that you would be the perfect person to come on and talk about this.
Well, I'm flattered, brother. I'm flattered, and I'm gonna do what I could do. I'll be upfront and honest about everything, and I'll do what I can do, man, to help out and to kind of convey information.
Absolutely. So, Mike, I got to do this first, right?
All right.
So we just happen to be doing this on the day that the SEC championship takes place.
Absolutely, Roll Tide.
And see this Roll Tide stuff. I see that little A on your chest. See, I was thinking initially it was the Atlanta Braves, but then when I saw that Bama, I meant Alabama under the A, I saw what was up. But here's the thing. See, those that know me, right, are those that watch my show, my platform,
right?
They know that this is my forte. I wear my vest. I wear my news boy.
Yeah.
Right? But I gotta do this right quick.
What you about to do? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's get it.
Yeah. See, this is for my Georgia peeps.
Okay then.
Yeah. Yeah. This you hold up. Let me back that out right quick.
Yeah. Go on, back it up. Let's get up. The pan on it. Pan on it.
Yeah. Let me see that right there, Mike. This game today, and we are totally digressing from human rights.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is actually the opposite of human rights. What's about to happen?
It's the polar opposite.
To somebody. I'm not going to sit up and say to us or y'all, something's about to happen to somebody today, and it's going to be the opposite of human rights.
You know what? See, if I had one of the biggest dog fans on this planet, my close buddy Joe Flowers.
Yeah.
Oh man, hey dude, he'll be jumping up and down, turning flips right about now, man. But anyway, let's get back on topic. And I will put my news boy back on because this is news having you on here, Mike.
Well, I appreciate you, man.
So check it out, man.
What's up?
Universal human rights. When you start to internalize human rights, be it from a universal standpoint, domestically, or whatever the case may be, what does that look like to you? What does that mean to you?
Good question. First and foremost, human rights to me, in the form that I think we're talking about, that I assume we're talking about, is a relatively new concept. I don't really know what it looks like. All I know is what I would like it to look like, and how realistic that is. That's what we'll see.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I say this the right way.
Okay.
Right now, just if I were to, summarize it right now, human rights seems to be something that's more of a dividing factor as opposed to a uniting factor with people. So one group wants rights, the other group may seem like that's taking rights from them. So right now it's really a divider, the issue, and I think that's taking us the wrong direction. It's taking us the opposite direction we want to go.
Wow. You know, that's first of all, I wholeheartedly agree, because it like I said, it means, and it looks like different things to different people, depending on what you're talking about, your background, your experiences with respect to it. It's like, you know, you do this for one group or organization or person, but you're in essence, like you said, you kind of taking a little bit of that essence away from another party or parties, right? So it's always this kind of like moving target, like how can we really get it right? And I've spoken with folks, be it in organizations, professional organizations,
right?
And you know, they set, you know, policy, that, you know, set certain standards. You know, you have the overarching mission or what have you, and collectively these people in this particular unit or organization is going to help us get there.
Right.
But again, to your point, I don't want to infringe on these guys, right?
Right.
What they believe in and their rights and what have you. And folks are like, well, hold up. If it's not law, if it's not something that's legally binding, like, well, okay, it's kind of like all for naught. It's a moot point, you know? So have you heard any arguments, not say, I use the term argument loosely, of course.
Okay.
But have you heard any arguments or conversation around that, of someone trying to find a balance in that type of environment?
I have, and I think that balance is equality. And, you know, as you know from listening to my show, I don't believe equality. I don't believe in equality. I believe in equity.
Oh. Ooh.
I don't believe in equality, because that's almost like you're chasing a ghost. It only exists in math problems. It only exists in equations. And, you know, that's because it's going to be the same outcome every time.
Right.
You can't really apply that to humans. You can't apply that to law.
That's a very, very interesting spin on it. I've mentioned him to you before. My buddy, my homeboy, Dr. Dennis Carpenter.
Yes.
And he talks a lot. He has studied and researched a lot around the topic of equality and equity, specifically equity. Right. And yeah, and just having conversations with him and following some of the work that he's done, and I'll share some other things with you later about it. You know, it really kind of, to your point, it really made me look at it a little differently. The word equity, you know, that's what you're really, you know, after. It's like, you know, some folks, going back to the organizational approach, right?
Right.
You know, they have the quotas, right? No, we need X number and we need X percentage. Well, okay, right. Well, if you're arbitrarily imposing those numbers to something that's tied to human beings,
right?
How can you truly find, or how can you truly make that, to use the word again, equitable for everyone?
I think that's where the term "get my piece of the pie" comes from. It's not that my piece of the pie is necessarily going to be as big as your piece of the pie or the next person's piece of pie. You know, that would be equality if we all got our fair share slice that was the same size as the next person's.
Right.
But the equity is, hey, I want my piece of the pie. So therefore, what I put into it, I deserve to be able to withdraw from as well to use for my benefit.
I like that. I like that.
And you know, like I tell my nieces, man, that there's no such thing. See, my mom and their moms are all about, oh, you're equal, you're equal, you're equal. I'm like, you're putting them on a rocket. You're putting them on a rocket right now. No, you need your equity. Whatever you work for, you deserve to pull out. Whatever you contribute, you deserve to pull out. If you contribute nothing, you pull out nothing.
You pull out nothing. Yeah. And again, to your point, it's that's applied, or that's applicable across the board,
Right.
right? That's the equity in that. I know folks are like, okay, you guys are talking from this idealistic perspective. That's a perfect world scenario. There's so much subjectivity incorporated in that, because at the end of the day, they're butts and seats making those decisions, right?
Right.
With their own prejudice, with their own biases, and the list goes on and on. But
Right.
on the surface, I totally get it. And I think it's something that just holistically folks should start just looking at a little differently, to really, like, well, let me say it this way: those who have put in the work to research this stuff, and those, like yourselves or what have you, who really believe, have internalized the concept in a way that you really can make it relatable to other folks. I feel, and I've shared this with you talking about other subjects, I feel you are charged. You have an obligation to inform people, to not say make people see it a particular way, but just expose them to a different way of looking at certain things.
Right.
And it's not just about the topic equity or human rights or what have you. It's everything. So that's another reason why, Mike, I've always told you I love what you're doing, and again, how you do it, because it's unique, it's creative, and it's you the way you tend to make things relatable to a varied audience. That's an art form, man. It's an art form.
Well, you know me since I've been 18 years old.
Yep.
I'm 43 now. So when you met me, I was a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I was rapping, I figured it out later down the road, not because that's all I could do, but that was my way of relating to people and disseminating information. So that's really what I was. I was somebody who transferred and disseminated information to other people. And I figured it out last night. We had a Manosphere conference up here in Buckhead, in which case, shout out to those guys out there, man. Some pretty big names there.
Okay.
And I found myself shouting out stuff the whole night. Just, hey, this and that, and sometimes it may have been a little bit abrasive or whatnot, but I realized that is me. I'm always going to speak out very loudly.
And so Mike, I'm okay. I'm curious, like, shouting out, can you just, I get, for my edification, like, what do you mean shouting? What was resonating with you so much that, like you said, you were shouting it out? What the manosphere? Let's start there first.
Okay.
What is that concept in itself about?
I'm gonna tell you what I think it is. The manosphere is basically black men taking charge and trying to restore order to our society. So you got a group of men. Usually they fit our kind of descriptions. It's not going to be the street guys or whatnot. It's going to be a lot of, just regular middle of the road guys who want to work, who want to have families. They believe in family. We believe in order. I'm going to be honest. The best way I could sum it up is this: a black conservative movement with black men. Okay. And there are actually women in the manosphere as well. So
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, there are women creators in the manosphere as well. So basically, this is the conservative pushback from the black people. That's the best way I could put it. And I got more insight on that last night, and the effects of liberalism, how it's affected and impacted us. This is the pushback. This is the balance.
Interesting.
And it's growing, man. It's a lot of professional brothers, man. Brothers with money.
Yeah.
And you got different sects. You have different groups. You have some guys that are MGTOW, and that's men going their own way. They're never going to get married. You got a sect. You got the passports. You got guys that's going to go marry out. They're going to go to Brazil. They're going to go to Colombia. They're going to go to Dubai. They're marrying out.
And the term is passports.
Passports. Yeah, you got the passports.
Oh man, keep living. You learn something every day, man.
Oh yeah, it's huge. And it gave me a lot of insight. A lot of young brothers, man, are traumatized, man.
Okay.
They're traumatized that this is therapeutic to them. So being able to be around the men and have that male impact and influence in their life, a lot of these brothers don't have it, man. Some of these kids were the sons of hoes and everything else, man.
Yeah.
So imagine the trauma that they had to deal with, associated with women. So I'm proud of a lot of them for not turning to that life of crime, because as we know, the numbers show 70% of people in prison, come from single parent households, usually single mother households.
That's true.
So these concepts, when you start looking at the facts, those concepts go directly against the feminist movement, in which case, we got that going on big time.
Right.
Especially on the more liberal side. So it's a cultural war right now within the Black community. I said that back 2 summers ago when I said that there was an impending class war. Right. This is what's happening.
So you beat me to the punch, Mike. I was just about to clarify for myself.
Yes.
Like it is that tied to the Black race, Black people in and of itself. And I remember, right, you and I had that conversation and you dropped that tidbit a while ago. Like you said, that was like a couple of years ago, give or take.
Right.
And I heard you then, and you painted the picture, regarding what you were actually talking about. But the way you just laid that out, especially following that context about the manosphere, what have you.
Right.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see how what you said has come to fruition and how it's steadily, kind of manifesting itself.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. No, it has to. It's not even unfortunate.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna be honest, physics is law. So every action, as we know, has a what?
Has a reaction. Everyone.
That's one thing that's equal.
Ooh.
Excuse me. The reaction is equal to the action.
Ooh.
All the time.
Huh.
You can't stop it. You can't throw it off. It's gonna swing equally in either direction all the time.
Man, okay. Hey, that begs for another conversation another day.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely have it. Look, this is complex stuff, man.
Well, but
it's complex.
That's it, man. It's complex. It's there's so many variables, man. Dependent variables, because it's so interconnected. You move this a little bit, these 3 over here are going to be affected. You push that one to the left, you're going to adversely impact these over here. I mean, just the trickle down or over effect of it all is monumental, man. And here again, that kind of goes back to the point I made, or I was trying to make, regarding the how I feel certain individuals are charged to help lead people, to help inform people is the word I want to foot stop here. Because sometimes, man, people just don't know. you literally do not know what you don't know. Going back to your points about, the single parent homes, or the homes that are led by, single moms or what have you. I'm from that environment, right? I'm a product of that. You are
as well, yeah.
You are. Several of my very close brothers are. But having said that, at the same time, that continues to give me hope, because I'm like, well, I mean, I got my bends and my curves, my dents, my bruises, but for the most part, I'm okay, right? I came out okay. Big Mike, he's doing okay. Joe, Chris, your buddies, Cornell, whoever, man.
Right.
We have examples of guys who have, overcome certain barriers, and in the midst of fighting for our own human rights and the rights of others or what have you. So again, it kind of goes back again, I cannot overstate this enough. It's it's really, I really think it's tied to, I should say tied to. That's why I really think brothers like us and other brothers that are really trying to do some meaningful things, we have to take up the mantle. We
Right,
have to identify our respective lane
right,
that's tied to a wealth of influence
right.
to help kind of right the ship, for lack of a better phrase. You know what I mean?
We have to course correct, brother.
We got to course correct.
Yeah, if we don't, we're extinct.
If we don't, we're extinct. And it's kind of like one of those, I forget who says it. It's tied to one of the adages. If not you, who? Right?
Right,
It's kind of like I'm no longer. So my thing right now, that getting back to human rights, what have you, we've identified and we know people personally, and everyone out there can attest to this, that they didn't have, uh, you would say, a fair shake early on in life.
right,
They didn't have certain resources early on in life, right? Not
right,
to make excuses, but sometimes it is what it is. They weren't exposed to certain role models, certain people who impressed positivity and motivated them and inspired them. Some folks, some guys just don't have it, right?
right.
So again, from a human rights perspective, I feel, as we just conveyed two times over, it's incumbent upon brothers like us and others to, like you said, take up that mantle and help correct the course as best as we can in our respective areas, be it areas of expertise that derive from experiences, formal training, the list goes on. So getting back to strictly human rights. So I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot, Mike.
Go ahead.
Give me, give me, not say hypothetical. That's the first thing that came to mind. Give me an example of, give me, give me an example of a phenomenon that directly addresses human rights or the lack thereof. In anything that comes to mind
A phenomenon that addresses human rights.
that addresses human rights, that's a person having the rights or the lack thereof.
I would think maybe hmm, that is a good question.
It's,
I would
it's
say probably what you see happening from the BLM side.
okay.
Um, it not really, because they're not really addressing human rights, but it's dressed up as addressing human rights. Does that make sense? I think that's the recent phenomenon, was kind of eventually not going to be right for people. So I think we see more bad things coming up to kind of take the I don't
Mm.
that's a good look. So maybe let me say it the right way. It's commercialized human rights. So I think that the media's hijacking of the human rights narrative
Mm.
is destroying human rights. I think that would be the best way I could, as far as a phenomenon. I don't think anything has really come about that has truly addressed the real issues. It's kind of just rolling with the media narrative.
Yeah.
I think that's the most recent phenomenon I've seen. I think what we saw over the past 2 years with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery,
Right.
and the situations, that bloody summer we went through in quarantine,
Yep.
um, that gave rise to a lot of movements that seemed to be grassroots, that were really aiming to get human rights, but it was quickly taken over by the corporate interest of
No,
I hope I didn't go down too much of a rabbit hole.
nope. I totally follow you. And here's the thing. The point I was trying to make is, as we said at the onset, right? It looks so differently because you're trying to appease so many different groups and subsets and people, cultures. I mean, there's so many moving parts, and that's part of what I think, in my humble opinion, people have to really realize. You can't. You're not going to always be able to appease and please everyone.
Hold on. Let me say something. Let me interject something real quick.
Please.
I will say what's going on in the Supreme Court with Roe v. Wade right now is another phenomenon that's coming up that will really address human rights.
Ooh.
So we talked before. I'm gonna go on, drop the bomb.
I know where you're going.
If you can't protect or even decide whether the most basic form of life is protected from arbitrary execution, not reasons, not I got whatever happens, but from just being able to wake up and be like, I want to go do this today.
Wow.
Until you could protect the most basic life forms. Human form, we're never gonna have human rights.
Wow. Hey,
you can't do it. You got to start at 0 and 1. You can't go to 2. Can't go from 0 to 2. And you can't keep murking the waters talking about, well, it's not really this, it's not really that, it's not a human until this, and not a human until that. I will say this: if it wasn't a human, there would be no medical care for anybody that was pregnant up to a certain amount of months.
Ooh.
You have medical care that you have to do. You have vitamins, you have this, you have that, and everything else. You have to take your folic acids and all that shit. So if it wasn't a human, then why is the practice of human medicine applied in them first months for those who want to keep it?
Ooh, boy.
I mean, these are questions that I've asked, and I've resolved myself to know that I would never have to make that decision personally.
I'm with you.
I've resolved myself to maybe, sometimes I stay out of that. But I think we can't really have the human rights discussion until we actually address what's the most basic form of, the most basic form of human subjugation, the right to life. And I've said this before. I think the only rights that humans really have every human should have, is the right to defend him or herself.
Hey,
and they're aiming at that too.
As I like to say, that's definitely a conversation for another day.
Right.
Ooh,
right,
boy. But I agree. Yeah, you already know. I understand where you're coming from. We don't always agree on certain, not say talking points around that particular topic, but on certain things. No one should. You're not going to agree with everybody on every single thing. But my thing is, the older I get, the more how should I put it? I'm very open-minded, but I'm very conservative in nature, right? I'm liberated, I'm free, but at the same time, I have some basic tenets that I have followed for quite some time, So that, and talking about phenomenon, so that's a warring phenomenon inside of each person that you know what you believe in, and lock, step, and barrel, where you are on a certain issue, what have you. But at the same time, you kind of like, well, should I be imposing that, my personal whatever, on him, her, and everybody else? It's, again, it goes back to
somebody has to impose something.
Somebody has to
impose something in order for society to go a certain direction.
That's true.
So, I think that, like I said, thinking about other people too much has made us a little soft, as far as people, as in general, as society.
Yeah.
And when you get soft, you allow slack. You give inches here, you give inches there.
Right.
And before you know it, people skating all over the place. Now, I don't want to jump topic, man. I don't want to jump topic, but I have to put this to you and see what you think about this.
Okay.
So a situation occurred the other day in Douglasville, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
right next to us over here.
Okay.
And a young 13-year-old boy accidentally shot his 14-year-old sister.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
He was making ghost guns. He was getting gun parts online, making guns, selling the guns. So a 19-year-old came to buy a gun from the boy. Instead of buying the gun, the 19-year-old thought he would take the gun, snatch it, and try to run. When he tried to run with the gun, the other boy shot at him. The bullet ricocheted, went and hit and killed his sister in the house.
Oh, I didn't know the full story. Wow.
Both boys are being charged with murder. We were talking about this last week.
Whoa.
When we break with what's right for certain people, regardless of how it's, what's been done, we start setting precedents for things like this to happen to our babies. So this 19-year-old baby, which is what he is, who just went to rob somebody, not saying he shouldn't catch the robbery charge or the attempted robbery charge, but really should he?
Wow.
Should he even catch that charge? But no, he's under the Georgia precedent of basically he's involved in a felony murder right now. And he didn't pull a trigger. He didn't kill anybody. These are the type of things that we have to think about when we're talking about outcomes. These are the type of outcomes we have to think about. Like, law is a complex subject.
Very complex.
It's complex, and it can be it can be subverted and perverted real quick by a good lawyer. So, it's one of those things that you practice. It's not even a law. It shouldn't even be called law. Something's a law, that means it's in stone. It happens every single time. That's not practice. That's law. But I just wanted to put that out there from a human rights standpoint. Look at the amount of people that are being robbed of their freedom and why they're being robbed of their freedom.
You mentioned the single parents, the statistics that supporting 70+% come from single parent homes, et cetera, et cetera. You talk about that percentage coupled with this type of activity here.
Right.
Oh, you talk about the detriment that would stem from something like this. And I'm not talking about over a considerable amount of time. Like in the short term, that could wreak havoc against, particularly against people of color.
Right.
As the numbers, show, is a direct correlation to all of that. And the word you use, we have to be careful when we set or make precedents with one thing stemming from a totally different situation. Well, not totally different situation, but from a totally different place, obviously.
Right.
The application of it can really hurt a particular set of people.
The application is always going to hurt Black people in this country. So you got to be careful what you want to apply.
Wow.
Because somebody will use the application to hurt us.
No, you're exactly right. I can't argue that point.
Yeah, I would like to get this kid. I would like to help this kid out. I don't know what I could do.
Wow.
Because honestly, here's the deal. He acted like he was going to buy the gun. Instead, he took the gun. Now, is that really a robbery? Because he was disarming a 13-year-old with illegal guns. That goes back to intent. They have to prove intent.
That's right.
But to catch the murder charge and still have to fight that on top of that.
Wow.
It's effed up.
Wow. And Mike, with that's human rights, brother. That's a direct spin on it right there.
Yeah.
And look, Mike, you have me thinking about a multitude of things that I had no idea that it would hit me like that to even think of other topics and subjects that we all need to talk about just a little more. Be it via subject matter experts to support certain areas of the argument or of the conversation, or if it's just, yeah, hey, ordinary folks like us who have done a little research, who are woke, I use that term loosely too, but who are self-aware, right? Self-aware and really want to do something, again, in our respective spaces and places to help change the course of this ship, as you touched on earlier. Big Mike, my brother, I thank you so much for coming on here and imparting these words, man. I do want you to stand by for me.
Okay.
I cannot thank you enough for coming by and gracing the platform with your presence.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you for having me, and we'll be talking.
Hey,
we'll definitely be talking in Roll Tide. Yeah.
Hey, before I go.
Yeah. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. We'll see. We'll see.
Before I go, at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we're about to get it on, baby.
We're about to get it on, man. I can't wait to see it. Like I said, somebody got to come emerge victorious, and it's just gonna be anti-human rights day down at the damn dome, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
anti-human rights.
Anti-human rights day at the Mercedes-Benz Dome downtown, man.
Hey, much love, man. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Peace.
All right, everyone. Hey, that was Mike McDonald, Big Mike of the Big Mike Drop. Hey, check him out. I'm gonna make sure I leave some information with respect to his platform, because it's definitely a show. Again, a platform that you gotta tune into and support whenever you can. As always, you guys can please like us on Facebook, continue to do so, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I thank you guys for always supporting lifewriting.com, where writing speaks.